since we started working together, increased my ARR by more than 30%.
Wow.
And we had like a huge my hugest day of sales for my paid subscription was, I think, after our first or second coaching call. I remember telling you about that. So just there, the like the investment was already paid off financially. So everything after that was just a bonus for me. But it's just helped me in so many areas of life. So side business is one thing, 9 to 5, family, just keeping the balance, being present and engaged. So yeah, really happy with that.
All right. I'm super excited to do this one. We got a client interview with my client, Marius. So Marius, thanks for jumping on, man.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
All right, let's do this. So we were talking about this before. Really, the goal for this is to talk about your story in going through the Driven Dadpreneur Accelerator, and in the hopes that somebody who's listening to this would resonate with it. So first, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and this is kind of a fun story, but like, yeah, where do you live?
Yeah, okay. So my name is Marius. I'm 32 years old. I live in Norway. I have 2 children and a wife, a house and a car. I work as a product manager in a tech company, and I have my own side hustle on the side where I write a newsletter about stocks and investing in the stock market.
Yeah, and you've got a
Yeah.
big Twitter following too,
Yeah,
right?
I have around 120,000 followers on Twitter or X, and I have almost 35,000 followers on Substack for my newsletter. Yeah,
That's so
so it's
cool.
getting
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And tell us the story about how did you hear about me and Driven Dadpreneur? Because we talked about
Yeah.
this. This is kind of like a full circle moment that you're doing one of these testimonials. So yeah, break that down.
Yeah. So I was it was actually this summer. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was stressed. I was tired. I was just heading towards burnout. And I was in my car. I had to go plug it in and load the car, my electric car. And I had 1 hour for myself. And I went into ChatGPT. I just wrote basically my problems. Like there has to be some good resources on this. Who can help me with dealing with this? Like dad life, balancing work, balancing side hustle, entrepreneurship, and athletics even, and
Yeah.
working out. So I put like a good problem description into ChatGPT and told ChatGPT to give me some good podcast episodes or resources to help me with my issue. And then I remember this episode of a trader. I can't really remember his name, but
Tommy.
Tommy,
Yeah.
yeah. And it just resonated. It just hit me right in the heart because it was just exactly the same issues that I had, the exact same problems, and I just started listening to more of your stuff. It recommended this episode at first, and then there were a few other podcasts, but yours was clearly the best. So I listened to a lot of the different episodes and testimonials that you had done, and you just really like hit the nail on the head with the problem because that was exactly the problem I had. So that's how I found you, which is kind of a, a funny story.
Well, yeah, we talked about that because now you're on the other side of this. And
Yes.
our hope is that somebody who's in that position is like asking ChatGPT or is scrolling on Instagram or on YouTube and they see this. So, also, I just think it's so cool. When you told me that, I thought it was so cool that ChatGPT was actually recommending my content for that. But
Mhm.
it makes so much sense because when you got on that first call after we connected on Instagram, I just felt like I could finish your sentences because I knew exactly the struggles of trying to grow your business, take care of your demanding career, be there as a dad, as a husband, and still like train because you're an endurance athlete as well. Um, so you kind of talked about this a little bit, but like what was your situation like before you started the coaching process? And can you go into a little bit more detail about what were some of the specific challenges that you you had and were looking for support on?
Yeah, I was just I've been hitting this plateau for it felt like multiple years. Feeling stressed all the time, feeling overwhelmed all the time, not feeling like I really can get anything done, always feeling like I'm behind on everything. I'm
Hmm.
behind on the dates with my wife, I'm behind on quality time with my children, I'm behind on the side hustle and writing the stuff I need to, I'm behind on my work. So just
Yeah.
felt like I was chasing life, trying to catch up all the time, and that was just exhausting. And what it led to was that my mindset got really like negative. I ended
Yeah.
up in like negative thought loops and spirals, and I just really couldn't break free of like the negative spiral I was in, and I didn't really know I was in it even before we started talking, and we started looking into the limiting beliefs and the mindset stuff and so on. But yeah, I was really having some really big struggles, and how it manifested in my life was that I really couldn't really enjoy my time with my loved ones.
Hmm.
I didn't progress in my career at my 9 to 5. I didn't progress at my with my side business because I was only able to do what was basically necessary to keep up. I was not able to like take the next step. I was always too tired and overwhelmed. So yeah,
Yeah, and appreciate you sharing that because I know anybody who's listening to this can probably resonate with that right now, and I've been there too. It just seems like it was very reactive all the time, and then that led to overwhelm. Is that right? Like, was it
yeah,
just like that reactive side of it?
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. What were some of the things that you were trying to deal with that maybe didn't work for you, or like what were you doing before we
Yeah,
started working together?
like any high performer or a hyperachiever, I read a lot of books on the subject, like
Yeah,
all the personal growth books and podcasts and videos on YouTube and everything I could get my hands on. I devoured everything. I tried meditation, I tried different courses, I tried a lot of different things.
yeah,
I just could not hack the problem I was in because I was so deep in it that I couldn't like I needed somebody else to see my situation and help me out of the pit I was in basically.
yeah. I did the exact same thing, and I see that a lot. People just when you're overwhelmed, you're reactive. You try and get out of it by seeking more information, more
Yeah.
podcasts, more audiobooks, more discipline. But that actually makes it worse because you don't actually need more information. You need to implement kind of like systems and like remove the things that are creating the chaos. So appreciate you sharing that. And then once we got started, like what were some of the most helpful aspects from the systems that we implemented and the coaching experience?
I think the first like huge unlock that was almost instantaneous was the mindset stuff we did. So identifying like just going through your limiting beliefs. I didn't really think that I thought my mindset was great, to be honest with you. I thought I had a really, really good mindset. Then I started looking at the limiting beliefs and I was like, damn, do I really believe all this? Like in the back of my mind, do I really believe
Yeah,
these things? And you maybe write down 20 different things and you go into the five most like impactful ones,
yeah,
and they just like it just hit me that this I actually believe these things. So it was one of them was that I can't change because I've been in
yes,
that situation for so long. So I can't change. I'm not able to change. That was like a limiting belief I had. And also I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud. I write about things, but I'm not. I don't have the competency to write about it. I'm basically imposter syndrome. That
yeah,
was like really, really, really present when we started digging into it. So the first like huge unlock was the mindset shift. And once we started working on those limiting beliefs, creating better beliefs, and looking at the evidence to back that up, I just saw like a incredible transformation within just a few weeks, to be honest. Like a really short time after we had that. if we cut the coaching at that time, I think that was like the second coaching call.
Yeah.
It would have been worth my time and money, because that was just and just having the skill to look at the limiting beliefs in the future as well, if I get into the same situation, is just priceless. The second thing I think was extremely good for me, and this is just a cliche. It's something I should have implemented more strictly a while ago,
Hmm.
but just having like good work-life systems. So to support both my family life and wanting to spend quality time with my family, but also drilling into how do I spend my time effectively on my 9 to 5 and for my side business. And just having some good systems, even just like the weekly planning. So now I do a weekly planning each Sunday. It sounds like really, really simple, but I think, as you said, you don't really need more information. You need to implement it. So you need to just do the basics and implement it. And it was really good for me.
Yeah. Okay. Couple things there. I remember when we went through the calls on like your limiting beliefs around like I can change, and then we gave you your brain evidence for the credibility of why you have hundreds of thousands of people, following your information, and how
Yeah.
that was just like it's almost like flipping a switch. Like it was instant. And
Mm.
that's the way that this process works. It's not something that you actually work harder on. It's basically something that you see differently and then you shift.
Mm.
And I think that's really cool that you implemented that. So then when you implemented the systems on top of that, it felt like it just accelerated your growth pretty quickly. So was there any other aspects that you felt like were helpful in addition to those two things?
Yeah, I think just the concept of energy management,
Yeah.
like instead of managing my time, because as you know, we all have the same amount of hours in one day, but the first hours of the morning are usually much more productive than the last few hours before you go to bed. At least for me, I have a job, busy side hustle, busy family, everything. When evening gets here, I'm not able to sit around and work for 3 hours. It's just too demanding. Like my cognitive energy is just it's spent basically. So being able to manage my energy, using my best hours to do the most important work, and
Yeah.
also like prioritizing for certain periods. I prioritized my 9 to 5 because I had a big launch. We were launching a big
Yeah.
SaaS product, and I needed to really focus. And then just being okay with, okay, now I'm just doing the uh, minimum viable dose for
Yes.
my side business, right, and my training and so on. That's okay for now, because I have to focus on my 9 to 5. And previously, I would not be okay with that. I would be like, okay, I need to perform really hard on my 9 to 5. Then I need to do everything in the side hustle, and I need to train really, really hard. And what that has led me to previously is to burn out and not understand why I get sick and
Yeah.
headaches and so on. But just like the concept of energy management, I think was really key for me as well.
Somebody who's listening to this is probably wired the exact same way. It's that saboteur pattern of the hyperachiever. Not only are
Yeah.
you a high achiever, you're a hyperachiever, and you feel like you always need to be going 100% in business, family, training, whatever that is. And everybody kind of recognizes if you are always going 100% in 100% of those areas, eventually you're going to break. And so that's where we kind of started to talk about there's different seasons to your life. And then what do I need to commit to in this season? And I remember that was like a big shift for you. And even like for anybody who's listening to this, to think of your life like the way that an athlete would think about it, right? And an endurance athlete, because it's not just about constantly training. It's training and recovery. And you've got to build that in on a daily, in a weekly, in a quarterly basis. So appreciate you sharing all of that. So as you started to put the mental side in place, the work-life systems and energy management, what were some of the most, what are some of the results that you're the most proud of? And like, how did that start to transform your life?
I think like the mindset stuff, it's just it's priceless because it sort of upgrades your software, right? Like your operating system is upgraded. So everything you do and everything you experience after that point is like just a little bit better. It might just be like 5% better, but if
Hmm.
you compound that over a lot of years and a lot of different areas and perspectives of life, that just becomes an insane amount of value. And it's not just monetary value. Like we like to
Yeah.
talk about making more money and making a lot of money, but just like the quality of life and having better experiences and being better with people and having more fun and flowing more and being really engaged in what you do. I think that is like my biggest takeaway. But I also achieved a lot better work-life balance. I'm a lot more present with my family. So when I'm with my family, I'm really with them. We spend a lot of quality time together. I meditate a lot, and I feel like that sort of helps. That's also
Hmm.
something I picked up, like an old habit I had, but I picked it up because we went through like the me at my best exercise, and I
Yeah.
identified that when I was at my best, I used to meditate a lot, but it just helps me get into that like good place basically where I'm present. I'm not on my phone. I'm not my head is not anywhere else. It's just in the present moment. But if you want to talk shop, I also increased like I looked at my for my Substack newsletter. We
Yeah.
measure it in annual recurring revenue. So I increased since we started working together. I increased my ARR by more than 30%,
Wow.
and we had like a huge my hugest day of sales for my paid subscription was, I think, after our first or second coaching call. I remember telling you about that. So just there, the like the investment was already paid off financially. So everything after that was just a bonus for me. Uh, but it's just helped me in so many areas of life. So side business is one thing, 9 to 5, family, just keeping the balance, being present and engaged. So yeah, really happy with that.
I was waiting to see if you were going to mention that because I remember it was like 30 days after you started, but
Yeah,
this is how it works because the limiting belief was like, I can't change. I can't, I don't have time. I don't have the energy. And that like I'm an imposter. And then we
yeah,
flipped it to no, like I'm capable. I'm worthy of like sharing all of this information. And it's more about serving them and your purpose rather than yourself. And when we
yeah,
made that shift, that's when everything changed in the newsletter business. Do you remember
yeah.
that?
I remember sitting in my car when we talked about that, and I was just like I couldn't even get the words out because it was just like the perspective change from what I always had believed was just when you flip it, like serving the younger version of myself. I'm serving people, I'm helping people. It was just, it made everything, it changed everything. So it made it a lot easier. It took my ego away from the process. And yeah, that was just a huge game changer for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I that one just kind of came back to me because it's at any point in time you can either focus on yourself or you can focus on your purpose. You can focus on yourself or you can focus on serving. And that's the shift that one of the shifts that we made that changed the way that you were showing up with the newsletter that led to the 30% increase. That's so cool to see. So you kind of talked about this so far, but how have you changed as a person through this process?
I think the main thing is that I'm a lot more focused now, and I say focused in the sense of, because we talked a lot about like this, you have grit and you have flow and grace, and grit is like how I usually deal with things is just I grind through it. I just do it. I make it happen no matter what. I just like impose myself. I just get it done. But what we talked about was a lot more using flow, using fun, using grace, implementing that into the work day and work routine. And I think so. If you were to ask my colleagues, I think that would probably be one thing that I'm not as serious as I used to be. I'm more playful and easier to work with, maybe not as gritty and yeah, aggressive, maybe. But I think the biggest like benefit for me and how I've changed as a person is that um, I'm a lot more just present with my family, with my friends in every area of life. And I don't think I would have achieved that or gotten to that because it requires some sort of inner peace, kind of. Previously, I was like felt like I had an inner civil war all the time. I was always like conflicted. But as we worked through the limiting beliefs and mindset stuff and all of that, that sort of resolved, and I feel just a lot more calmer in general. So yeah, that's a huge change for me.
How does that feel to just reflect on growing the business 30%, feeling that inner peace, being more present for your wife and kids? How does that feel to you?
It feels amazing. It feels like I mean, I think that's it's something everyone should do, because trying to work through these things alone, maybe you can do it, but it's really hard to see your own problems because you are stuck in them, sort of. So working with somebody from the outside that can help you see where you might need to change your perspective is just amazing, and I feel really good. And the changes, of course, feel amazing.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So kind of touched on this a little bit, but any last pieces of advice for that version of you who was searching ChatGPT, who was struggling, overwhelmed, kind of hesitant? Any last pieces of advice for that previous version of you or somebody who's listening?
Yeah, I think when we think about investing, we often think about like investing in in an index fund or the S&P 500 or a stock or something like that. But I think if you talk to anyone that's successful at any point, I think they will tell you that it's much more important to invest in yourself. Um, and I feel like this is just the perfect investment to level up your thinking, to level up how you feel, how you can balance having a busy professional life while having a family and still getting your workouts in without killing yourself, without burning yourself out. I think it's really a really good investment. Yeah, that would be my final
Awesome.
advice.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're like the perfect guy to ask because you give the financial like kind of investment advice, but I think that's a good way of thinking about it is
Yeah.
like as thinking about yourself as that stock and you want to invest in yourself and because over time that compounds. But also like the opposite is true. If you don't invest in yourself, the negative side of that compounds. Like a lot of times we think if I just keep going, it'll actually get better. But the truth is that you're either going to stay the same or it's going to get worse. So,
Yeah, and before you course correct, it's I mean it's the sooner you course correct, the better, because that really compounds. So if that sets you in the right direction, I mean the compounding is just off the chains. Yeah.
yeah, awesome, man. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of your entrepreneurial mindset and fatherhood journey. It has been so fun to like work with you. And I just felt it on the first call that like we just had such similar um mindsets and approaches. And I just knew that you applying your grit and your endurance athlete approach to these systems, I knew that you would crush it. But it's just been so cool to watch you level up. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
Yeah, and thank you to Mario. I'm really grateful that I found you through. Thank God for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's been really good, man. And
Yeah.
I highly recommend other people to check you out and do your coaching program. It's certainly has transformed my life in a really short amount of time and given me some insanely good tools that I probably will use for the rest of my life. So really appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Wow. Dude, that's so cool. It means a lot to me. And got to keep spreading the word to more people in Norway because you're my
Yeah.
first client in Norway. And we've talked about it. It's like, I can't wait to connect with you in person sometime. I'm going to have
Yeah.
to do like an international retreat or something. But for anybody who's listening to this, you're resonating with it, go ahead and click the link down below, book a call with me. We'll talk about where you're at, where you want to be, and see if the mental approach and the work-life engineering system can help you. Or just send me a message on Instagram. And we didn't talk about this, but do you want to talk about your newsletter or any of your content about if anybody who's listening to this wants to check out your content, where can they go to do that?
Yeah, sure. My Twitter handle is invest in assets, and my Substack is called Invest in Quality. You can find it at the website investinassets.net if you're curious about stocks,
Yeah,
quality stocks, and so on. Yeah.
nice. I'll link that below. So wanted to say thanks again, Marius. You're the man.
Thanks, Mario. See ya.
Crushed it.